In this video, I want to talk about 6 ways of thinking that I'm currently etching into my mind. These are ways of thinking that will change how you carry out your days, how you respond to your thoughts, and what you focus on in your life. Beginning your day with a question. I know this sounds really simple and kind of obvious, but whenever I do it, I reliably have a better day. And it's a really simple thought practice. In the last few months at random, I'll wake up and I'll ask myself, how can I make this day amazing? How can I make this day really focused? How can I make this day feel really flowy and really at ease? Sometimes I'll do this immediately, like I wake up and I ask that question straight away because I know that I have a big day ahead or I'm feeling really down. Sometimes I'll have about a few hours in the morning and then I'll sit down and be like, okay, how can I make this day focused from here on out? When I ask myself a question like this, I'm not journaling on it, I'm not brainstorming on it, I'm just letting myself sit with it. But as I go through my day, I find myself making my decisions based on that question. I'll wake up and ask, how can I make my day a little more magical? Then as I read my book, I'll ask, how can I make reading this book a little bit more magical? And I'll look at the way that the sunlight plays on the wall a little bit harder. I'll pick a book that will make me think a little bit more. I'll sit at my desk and ask, how can I make working this morning a little more magical? I'll make myself an oat milk decaf coffee with a little coconut sugar to add some coziness to the mood. Choose empowering reasons for your challenges so that disempowering reasons don't etch themselves into your mind. I don't believe at all that everything happens for a reason. I do believe that you can choose your reasons, and the reasons that you choose can either lift you up or drag you down. They can help or they can hinder, so you want to choose reasons that empower you. I originally read about this in the book The Miracle Morning, and when I read it, I was like, he's onto something. So an empowering reason for your challenge, for your circumstance, for an event that has happened is really just a reason that serves you. It could even be a neutral reason. So I had some generally like partners, boyfriends, people before Luke. My reason for those relationships is that they taught me to raise my standards. They taught me that I deserve better. That reason serves me, it empowers me, it lifts me up. I worked in a job for a period of time that really deteriorated my mental health, but it leveled me up so quickly. It taught me so much in such a short period of time, and I wouldn't be where I am today if not for that job. I had about a year of bad anxiety and really heavy sadness that still kind of haunts me to this day. But if not for that year, I wouldn't have learned how much connection, how much environment, and how much my situation impacts my mental health. I choose to choose empowering reasons for not so great stuff. The thing is that it doesn't really matter if the reasons are true. Sometimes I definitely apply reasons way after the fact that don't necessarily correlate, but they make me feel better, they make me feel stronger, and that is what matters the most. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, which is the #1 tool to create functional and beautiful websites with ease. I recommend it to everyone because I do think that it's such a great tool to build your website. I built my own website with it where I have my book recommendations, my app recommendations, my email sign up. I also built my app website with it, and it's just so simple to put a website together with Squarespace that truly anyone can do it. One of the things that I love the most about Squarespace is how simple and convenient it is. We love convenience. No plugins, no patches, no updates, ever. That's enough to sell me. I have dealt with websites where they have lots of plugins, lots of patches, and lots of updates. I've had those websites hacked. It wasn't a good feeling. I love that my website runs in the background. I don't have to stress about that. Squarespace is flexible for any kind of website, whether you are a creator, an artist, a designer, or you just want a website for you. Click the link below, squarespace.com/muchelleb, using the code muchelleb to get 10% off of your first purchase. Squarespace.com/muchelleb, use code muchelleb to get 10% off of your first purchase. Number 3, detached mindfulness. So we've all heard of mindfulness before, but for some reason I read an article recently and it was all about overthinking and mindfulness, and it hit me differently. It's really impacted the way that I think about overthinking, and I wanted to share it with you. The thoughts that are appearing in your mind that you are overthinking, they are not controllable, but how much you engage with them is more under your control. To be clear, we're not talking about stomping down your thoughts, we're not talking about getting rid of them. The way that it's explained is thinking about your thoughts almost like a sushi train. Your thoughts come along in the form of little plates of food, and you can choose whether you want to take them off the conveyor belt or whether you just want to let them continue along. Therapists who encourage this way of thinking when they're dealing with chronic overthinkers also encourage you to implement a worry hour. And this is really a way of training your mind in this way of thinking. A lot of people talk about challenging your thoughts, reframing your thoughts, and getting to the bottom of why a thought might exist. And sometimes that is life-changing. But there are some thoughts, and usually they're reoccurring. Ruminating about them has really just become a habit. Adrian Wells is a clinical psychologist and the founder of metacognitive therapy. And they talk about how so many people think of overthinking as a personality trait, as something that is fixed and that can't be changed. But when it comes to overthinking, it's actually actually more like a strategy. It can be a defense. It's much more like a habit. And when you're looking to break the habit of overthinking, detached mindfulness is a really handy strategy. So when you get a thought that you're tempted to really dive into, to worry about, to ruminate on, instead of doing it in that moment, tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna worry about that at 5 p.m., which is the start of my worry hour. By doing this, you'll start to realize that you do have more choice than you realize over whether or not to engage with a thought. Once again, we are not stamping down the thought, we're not pushing it away, we're just looking at it as it passes by. Another good thing about when you start to do this is that something that mattered a lot right before you had lunch, that you really wanted to ruminate on, that you really wanted to overthink on, suddenly at 5 p.m. just won't matter as much and you won't really want to think about it. This is something I've been doing lately and it feels kind of illegal, but I found it really helpful, particularly with some things that I tend to overthink. Number 4, not me first, me too. So right now it feels like we are just starting to overcome our era of hyper-individualistic, me first self-care. Self-care that is very much like cancel on people with no explanation. Put yourself first. Never do anything that you don't feel like doing for anyone else. Put yourself first. If your friend is not the perfect fit for you in every way, cut them off. If they wanted to, they would. If they can't read your mind, get rid of them. No one should need any help in trying to meet your needs. These are all the ideas that I've seen floating around on the internet. Particularly in the last few months, I feel like it really came to a peak and now we're starting to see it move towards a Me Too mentality. I get that way of thinking and don't get me wrong, I think that that's a way of thinking that has suckered me in. And you do need boundaries, and if your friend is doing something that's upsetting you, you should talk to them about it and it should be addressed. If you have an emotional or another need that your partner is not meeting after you've asked them to meet it, you should consider whether that's a non-negotiable for you. If you're having an awful mental health day, you need to cancel last minute, gotta do what you gotta do. But I think kind of like we do with everything in our society, we take things too far. The attitude that I've replaced this with is not me first, but me too. And this isn't my idea. I did find it from another creator that unfortunately I've lost the name of. So if you have the name, chuck it in the comments. For example, if you don't value quality time, but your partner does, love an errand date. You get to get your errands done and you get to spend quality time with your partner. My little niece, she loves quality time, but watching Bluey at home, playing with toys with her, it's not really my vibe. For some context, I'm not really sure if I want children. I would die for her, but playing Barbies for hours just isn't for me. But I love a date day. I love going out for gelato, love going to the beach with her, love taking her to a playground. That vibes with me. I'm getting my needs met, she's getting my needs met. It works for both of us. Number 5, those that mind don't matter and those that matter don't mind. So in the world of anxiety, people often say no one is thinking about you, and this is said in a really reassuring way. So everyone's thinking about themselves and no one has their mind on you. Don't worry so much. If that's an attitude that you adopt and subscribe to, skip this part of the video because it's actually not going to be helpful for you. So I have been friends with / have been around people who are pretty loudly judgmental. I have these vivid memories of people that I know judging others, and they really have etched themselves into my brain, and I think they've actually contributed to my social anxiety. For example, I have this memory of a girl that I knew and she was judging her friend for puffing and being red after a workout class. Such a specific and bizarre thing to judge someone for, but she did it. I've hung around people who have had a giggle at the expense of someone else's outfit, of their appearance. I've been around people who have judged someone for having fun, taking a photo in a cafe, doing something absolutely harmless. There's that account on TikTok, Influencers of the Wild, where they literally just take videos of people having fun, filming TikToks. Like, what I'm trying to say is that people do judge and people will think about you. People will have a laugh at your expense. When you've been around judgmental people and when you're just more aware of that kind of behavior, that advice really doesn't hit right. But in good news, here is the advice that works for me around that kind of scenario. No one that I know that is interesting and cool that I would want to be friends with is out judging people. I've never met a fascinating person who's doing their own thing, living on their own terms, being their own person, that isn't minding their own business. The people that you want to be friends with are not the people that are having a laugh at other people's expense on a regular basis. They're not in group chats being judgy about that person that they know who's trying to be an influencer. They're not talking about how people look, they're just not. This really is a long-winded way of saying those who matter don't mind and those who mind don't matter. The cliches are always it. Number 6, focus on the path, not the trees. So Simon Sinek, the author of Start With Why, talks about this concept, and it's based on this piece of advice that a lot of novice skiers are given, which is focus on the path, don't focus on the trees. Focus on the gaps, don't focus on the trees. They're also told wherever you look, your skis will go. So look at the path, not the trees. This is something that pilots are told as well. So pilots are never told, don't crash into that because it increases the likelihood of them crashing into it, versus go that way. When you're interacting with children, you're told not to say, don't sit on the couch. You're told to say, sit on the table. So instead of focusing on who you don't want to be, all of the challenges that are in your way, all of the things that might muck you up as you move towards your goals, as you begin new habits, as you start new beginnings, focus on the person that you want to become. Focus on the path that's ahead of you. Focus on enjoying the process, because what you focus on grows. If you liked this video, I have a video titled 5 Thinking Habits to Start. These are additional thinking habits that will help you to create a better life. I'm gonna have that video linked on the screen as well as down below. I appreciate you so very much, and I will see you soon.